KC9VKV, Whiskey Alpha 9, Golf Victor Kilo.
Golf Victor Kilo station. This is KC9VKV.
Station. This is KC9VKV.
Yeah, you could try the Arlington receiver. See if it's on receiver. WA9VK. Whiskey Alpha 9, Golf Victor Kilo. There's another station real close to us now. Over.
Roger. I got you pretty well on the Arlington, Virginia SDR. Roger.
Arlington, Virginia SDR. Roger.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just a few miles from that receiver.
Roger, yeah. Usually, folks get too close and they disappear. There's this, if you get too close, I guess you're in the ground wave pattern of that station, Roger.
Pattern of that station, Roger.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I noticed we have to put the power amplifier on just to get about 5 miles away. Are you able to hear me okay? Over.
Yeah, I've got you good now, sir.
Yeah, I've got you good now, sir.
Okay, yeah, appreciate an audio report. We're just getting this set up. This is a ICOM 7610 with a Heil 781 mic with the W2IYH equalizer on it, running attic antennas. The antenna is indoors, an inverted V. Over.
Roger that. I would suggest, do you have compression in the outboard device?
Have compression in the outboard device?
Yeah, I'm not using compression on the W2IHY stuff. This is the ICOM compressor. It is on right now. It's turned up a bit.
Roger. I would move that to about a 3. I would use the internal 7300 7610 compressor to about a 3. Roger.
To about a 3. Roger.
Yeah, right now it's up at a 7. It's up high. Am I too high? Over.
Yeah, take it to a 3. I'm going to get your level where you want it, but I'm going to do it in a way where it's a lot more transparent. So take your compressor to a 3.
Compressor to a 3.
Okay, we will do that. Hold on. Okay. Okay, the compressor has been turned down to a 3. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. KC9VKV, WA9GVK. Is that better?
Well, we're working on it. Now, what's your mic level? Tell me what your mic level is.
Mic level. Tell me what your mic level is.
Let me look at the mic level. My gain is at 32% right now. Over.
All right, take that to 45%. 4.5 on the mic level.
4.5 on the mic level.
Okay, yeah, keep in mind the W2IHY preamp is working in there too, but I'll go ahead and I'll raise the my gain up right now. Here we go.
All right, did you do that?
47.
All right, did you do that?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's at 47. Over.
All right, now go to Quick and take a look at your drive control. Let me know what that is, what it's setting.
What that is, what it's setting.
Okay, I'm going to go to the drive control right now. The drive gain is at 46. It's at 4.6.
All right, take that to 5.5. 55.
5.55.
Got you. I'm moving it up now to 5.5. Okay, the drive level is at 5.5. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drive levels at 5.5. Over.
All right, and let's see. Tell me about your antenna system. I just need a little audio there, so tell me a little bit about your antenna.
So tell Tell me a little bit about your antenna.
The antenna in the attic. All we have homeowners restrictions here, so we have an antenna farm in the attic. And by the way, I am on a linear amp. It's on the ACOM A1000, but I always keep that pretty well turned down, so we're never much above 300 watts. Back to you, KC9VKV, WA9GVK.
Roger, Roger. And you're reducing the output of your amp by the RF control on the 7610?
Control on the 7610?
That is correct. That's correct. I do that all from the power output of the rig. Correct. Over.
Roger that. I was just thinking, can you easily bypass your processor? Was just curious about something, but I know you're probably married to that, and but I was just curious about something. If it's a big problem, don't worry about it.
If it's a big problem, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I could turn the off. What happens is yes, the 781. Of course, being a dynamic mic takes a little bit more drive. Let me switch it. Let me see if I can get it off. Here we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. I should. Here we go. I have the W2IHY unit off. I am hitting the ALC hard, a little bit into the red region, but this should be off now. I believe the switch is off on the equalizer. Over.
Okay, you are widest mode possible, right?
Widest mode possible, right?
That is correct. It's on the wide setting, compound wide. Over.
Yeah, and is that like the 7300 where there's 3 different places that you could possibly change that?
Change that?
Yes, that's correct. It's the same as the 7300.
Okay, so to me that's really confusing to have 3 different places to set your the wideness of your station, because it will default to the lowest one that you have. So even if you have 2 set for high, if you have 1 set for low, it's going to go to low.
So 1 set for low, it's going to go to low.
Yeah, right now, let's see. Yeah, I just have on compound wide, so it is the widest setting right now. Was there a big change when I turned off the equalizer?
Yeah, it dropped just a little bit there. If you're going to run that, the outboard gear, I would go ahead and put it back in the circuit.
Well, with it in the circuit, I have the lows elevated, mid-range down, and the high a little bit up. So it's kind of looks like a parabolic dish on the equalizer setting. Over.
Roger. The only thing I'm noticing is that from time to time there's about 3 dB blow-by through that limiter, and the 7610 limiter is a very outstanding Stonewall limiter that does not do that, and I'm just wondering why it is doing that. Usually with the 7610 or 7300, those limiters are Stonewall limiters, so when you come up on it, it will take the 100% mark religiously. Every peak is the same place. There's no blow-by. It's a Stonewall limiter. And this one, from time to time, I see you +3 over my 0 set, and I just can't quite understand why.
Yeah, I know, but I'm seeing that right now. So on my ALC meter, it is going into the red region. So it's going above what ICOM recommends for us to see on the ALC setting. Over.
Yeah, Roger. So go ahead and put your stuff back in, because I know that you want to run that. So go ahead and put that back in, and we'll put that ALC at mid-range to mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Okay. Yeah. No, I have it in. When you told me to switch it in, I switched it in. Oh. Okay, right now, backing off from the mic just a little bit. Right now, that is in getting a little bit of the ALC in the red region. Over.
All right, we want to be, we don't want to exceed 2/3. So if you are getting some red, pull her back a little bit there, because we want to stay well within the range of the ALC. So I usually say, you know, mid-range to mid-scale to 2/3.
To mid-scale to 2/3.
Well, the way that I do that is with the mic gain. That I drop the mic gain. Or I think the compression, right? See, the compression does some effect with the ALC on here. Do you want me to drop the mic gain back?
Yeah, I would. Usually, though, what's that on now?
Usually, though, what's that on now?
Let me take a look again. My gain's at 47 right now. About 47.
Okay, so I would suggest can you take the output of your equipment going into the mic? Can you take the output of that down?
Can you take the output of that down?
I sure can. Yes, I can. Well, I mean, let me drop all the levers here. Let me get that down. Okay. I dropped the W2IHY device, so it is dropped. So I'm reduced the amount of drive. Excuse me. I reduced the amount of mic amplification into the rig right now. How does that sound?
Roger, how's your ALC look?
Roger, how's your ALC look?
It's fine. It's not. It's not going over the red region right now. So within the red bar right now, it's probably between half and 3/4, I'd say.
All right. Just out of curiosity, if you would indulge me just for a moment, let's go to the drive. And what's the drive level at the moment?
The drive level at the moment?
Yeah, the drive level is 55 right now.
All right, just out of curiosity, if you would take that to 60, 60. I think normal for that drive level is 50, but I'd like to try it at about 60 just for the moment.
About 60 just for the moment.
Okay, will do. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Drive level is up right now at about 60. I'm not seeing the compression do anything. There is a compression meter on the rig, even though the compression is on. The compression is not showing any movement right now.
Right. I'm just wondering, do you think your outboard gear might be loading the mic channel input being on?
Being on?
And I'll repeat that. What's your question?
I was just wondering if your external audio processor might be loading the output of the mic, since is it a definite bypass, Roger?
Bypass, Roger?
Well, I have the equalizer in, so I have the 781 going into the equalizer. The equalizer is turned on, but I've turned down the output gain from that equalizer since we started, so it's down now.
Oh, Roger, I wish I had a better copy on you. I wish I had just a little bit, just a tad cleaner copy, so I could see what's going on. It seems to be that I don't see that anomaly of pushing through the limiter point. So I think we may have solved that problem. I'm not real sure. The thing is, you have to be conscientious about working the mic consistently over a period of time. In other words, your distance to the microphone, you have to be very religious about being at that same place, because if you pull back or get closer, your mic level will change. Now, I solved my problem by I'm running a windscreen and I'm right on the mic, so I can't get any closer, and I know if it's not tickling my nose that I'm too far away. So you know, that's how I solve the problem.
That's how I solve the problem.
Yeah, I have got a little too close there. I have the windscreen on this thing. What's the dynamic range doing? Is the dynamic range okay, or does it need more compression?
I'm showing you now at about 2.5 dB, so you know, that's would be probably the average peak modulation of somewhere around 85%. So that's typical for that radio. You can, you know, with that drive control, you can squish your audio down to 0.5 dB dynamic range, which is, I've never seen that. I have seen that with that radio, but I've never seen it in any other application of that fat an audio signal where it's only 0.5 dB dynamic range. What happens is, you know, I'm looking at your audio on a VU dB meter, and it's got a certain sway to it, and as we compress the signal, make the signal fatter, the meter seems to less occupy the lower part of the dial. It's all stays up around you know, 0 to -2 or 3, somewhere in there. But if you happen to totally go crazy on that drive control, that radio will do a 0.5 dB dynamic range. And so what I see on this end is my VU meter, instead of moving around, is just kind of quivering right at 0 level, just quivering like a voltmeter on a transmitter might, Roger.
On a transmitter might, Roger.
Okay, all right, thanks. So basically, at least for right now, it's somewhere in the right range. By the way, the only other issue you get running power and running at a antenna is getting RF feedback. So I do have on all the lines mixed 31 ferrite everywhere, on the audio lines and everything, to try to keep the RF from the system. So that's been my biggest problem, I'd say, to you. KC9VKV, WA9GVK.
Roger. Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with running 2 grounds. I've run through the whole thing here, and I have 3 grounds actually. I have 1 ground just for the power amp, the antenna selector, and the antenna tuner. I have 1 ground just for that, and that's a 9-foot stake, and I use RG8 as the line to the ground, since RF travels on the surface of the conductor. That's kind of the equivalent of like a 1/2-inch copper wire running to the ground. So I have 1 ground just for that, and I do a spider to connect to the amp and the antenna selector and the antenna tuner. It's called a gosh, what is it called? It's where moment of seniors moment here. Gosh, all these wires come together, and then they have a lock nut washer split bolt. Jesus, pardon my stupidity. A split bolt that all these things come together and tie it down with 1 split bolt, and that way you don't have any like long copper thing, which is a wavelength, could be a wavelength of this or that. This spider is sudden death. It's right there. All the lead to the ground and all the leads from the equipment come together in one place, tied together with a split bolt. Okay, so that's ground 1, and ground 2 and 3 are tied together with separate leads in, and they are handle the radio and the mic preamp and everything else. So I just couldn't see, you know, the reason I went to multi-grounds is I just couldn't see taking a mic preamp and tying it to a power amp ground. It just didn't make much sense, Roger.
It just didn't make much sense, Roger.
running long ground is another problem unto itself. Okay, Jim. Let's give some other people a chance to use your good counsel. And I appreciate it. Maybe next week we'll check back in with you and see if we're holding our own. And maybe you'll have better reception there in southern Indiana. Thanks a lot. KC9VKV, WA9GVK.
Okay, and come back with the call sign phonetically and slowly again, please.
Sign phonetically and slowly again, please.
Oh, yeah. Whiskey, Alpha, 9, Golf, Victor, Kilo. Whiskey, Alpha, 9, Golf, Victor, Kilo.
Roger. And the name, please?
Roger. And the name, please?
Bruce. Baker, Romeo, Uniform, Charlie, X.
Roger, Bruce. Thank you, sir. And you have a good day. And if you get a chance, check in next Friday. We'd love to hear you and see what you've been up to and how everything's been running. So for now, we'll say threes and have yourself a good weekend. This is KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, we are recording from now until 5. This is KC9VKV.